Greetings. Welcome to a new day of reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. Today we are very happy. It is the appearance day of Sri Ramacandra, Ram Navami. So today we'll be reading from chapter 10 of the 9th Canto, the Pastimes of the Supreme Lord Sri Ramacandra. Shukadeva Goswami very beautifully describes, in brief, the narrations of the pastimes of Ramacandra. So, I think there's three chapters describing the pastimes of Lord Ram. So we'll read now the pastimes of Lord Ramacandra, chapter 10 of 9th Canto. Text 1. Sri Shuka Uvacha Katvangar Dirga Bahuscha Ragustasmat Pritu Sravai Ajastato Maharajas Tasmar Dha Sharato Bhavat. Shukadeva Goswami said, the son of Maharaj Katvanga was Dirga Bahu, and his son was the celebrated Maharaj Raghu. From Maharaj Raghu came Aja, and from Aja was born the great personality Maharaj Dasharath. Being prayed for by the demigods, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth Himself, directly appeared with His expansions and expansions of the expansion. Their holy names were Ram, Lakshman, Bharat, Shatrughna. These celebrated incarnations thus appeared in 4 forms as the sons of Maharaj Dasharath. O King Parikshit, the transcendental activities of Lord Ram have been described by great saintly personalities who have seen the truth. Because you have heard again and again about Lord Ramacandra, the husband of Mother Sita, I shall describe these activities only in brief. Please listen. So Shukadeva knew that King Parikshit had already heard about the pastimes of Ram from Valmiki Ramayana and other narrations. So he explains Ramachandra's pastimes just in brief. To keep the promise of his father intact, Lord Ramacandra immediately gave up the position of king and, accompanied by his wife, Mother Sita, wandered from one forest to another on his lotus feet, which were so delicate that they were unable to bear even the touch of Sita's palms. The Lord was also accompanied by Hanuman, the king of the monkeys, or by another monkey, Sugriv, and by his own younger brother, Lord Lakshman, both of whom gave him relief from the fatigue of wandering in the forest. Having cut off the nose and ears of Supranaka, thus disfiguring her, the Lord was separated from Mother Sita. He therefore became angry, moving his eyebrows and thus frightening the ocean, who then allowed the Lord to construct a bridge to cross the ocean. Subsequently, the Lord entered the kingdom of Ravana to kill him like a fire devouring a forest. May that Supreme Lord Ramacandra give us all protection. So this verse very beautifully gives a synopsis of Ramayana. In the arena of the sacrifice performed by Vishwamitra, Lord Ramacandra, the king of Ayodhya, killed many demons, rakshasas, and uncivilized men who wandered at night in the mode of darkness. May Lord Ramacandra, who killed these demons, in the presence of Lakshman, be kind enough to give us protection. O king, the pastimes of Lord Ramacandra were wonderful, like those of a baby elephant. In the assembly where Mother Sita was to choose her husband, in the midst of the heroes of this world, he broke the bow belonging to Lord Shiva. This bow was so heavy that it was carried by 300 men. But Lord Ramacandra bent it, strung it, and broke it in the middle, just as a baby elephant breaks a stick of sugarcane. Thus the Lord achieved the hand of Mother Sita, who was equally as endowed with transcendental qualities of form, beauty, behavior, age, and nature. Indeed, she was the goddess of fortune, who constantly rests on the chest of the Lord. While returning from Sita's home, after gaining her at the assembly of competitors, Lord Ramacandra met Parashuram. Although Parashuram was very proud, having rid the earth of the royal order 21 times, he was defeated by the Lord, who appeared to be a Kshatriya of the royal order. So here, in this verse, it explains some very beautiful pastimes. So we know that Sita's father, King Janak, when he saw Sita as a young girl lift up Lord Shiva's bow, which had to be carried, as stated here, by hundreds of men, he knew that she was special. So he had made a promise that only someone who lifts this bow, the bow of Shiva, will marry my daughter. So Lord Ramacandra, as we know, he lifted the bow, strung it, and broke it in the middle. And because this bow was a gift from Parashuram, who had it against the warrior class, because the warrior class, the kingly class, were taking advantage of their power for wrong reasons. So he rid the world of the warrior class. So when he heard that Ram, who was a Kshatriya, who was a warrior, had broken the bow of Lord Shiva, he became angry and he came to fight him. And during the fight, it was a very ferocious fight, and during that ferocious fight, Parashuram realized that this is Ram. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We are both incarnations of the Supreme Lord. And then he surrendered. He surrendered to Lord Ram. Carrying out the order of his father, who was bound by a promise to his wife, Lord Ramacandra left behind his kingdom, opulence, friends, well-wishers, residents, and everything else, just as a liberated soul gives up his life and went to the forest with Sita. So Ram's father, King Dasharatha, had made a promise to one of his wives, Kaikeyi, to his wife, Kaikeyi's father, that Kaikeyi's son will become king. So because of this promise, even though Ram, all the brothers, Bharat, Lakshman, and Shatrughna, they all wanted Ram to be king. But because Ram's father, Dasharatha, had made this promise to Kaikeyi, Bharat was king, and they had Ram banished to the forest. While wandering in the forest, where he accepted a life of hardship, carrying his invincible bow and arrows in his hand, Lord Ramacandra deformed Ravana's sister, who was polluted with lusty desires, by cutting off her nose and ears. He also killed her 14,000 Rakshasa friends, headed by Kara, Trishira, and Dushan. O King Parikshit, when Ravana, who had 10 heads on his shoulders, heard about the beautiful and attractive features of Sita, His mind was agitated by lusty desires, and he went to kidnap her. To distract Lord Ramachandra from his ashram, Ravana sent Marichi in the form of a golden deer. And when Lord Ramachandra saw that wonderful deer, he left his residence and followed it, and finally killed it with a sharp arrow, just as Lord Shiva killed Daksha. When Ramachandra entered the forest, and Lakshman was also absent, the worst of Rakshasas, Ravana kidnapped Sita Devi, the daughter of the king of Videha, just as a tiger seizes unprotected sheep from the shepherd when the shepherd is absent. Then Lord Ramachandra wandered in the forest with his brother Lakshman, as if very much distressed due to separation from his wife. Thus he showed, by his personal example, the condition of a person attached to a woman. Lord Ramachandra, whose lotus feet are worshipped by Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, had assumed the form of a human being. Thus he performed the funeral ceremony of Jatayu, who was killed by Ravana. The Lord then killed the demon named Kabhanda, and after making friends with the monkey chiefs, killing Vali, and arranging for the deliverance of Mother Sita, he went to the beach of the ocean. So we all know the story, or maybe most of us do know the story of when Sita saw the golden deer, she asked Ram, please, I'd like to have this golden deer. So Ram went to go get the deer for her. And this was just a plea, because at that time Ravana came disguised as the Brahmana. And before Ram left, he told Lakshman, you look after Sita. Don't leave her alone. But as Ram was searching for the deer, because Marichi was a demon and could take on many different forms and many different voices, when Ram Ram realized that this was not an ordinary golden deer, but this was a demon. So Ram shot the deer with his bow. And as the deer was dying, he cried out, but in Ram's voice, Lakshman! Lakshman! So Sita, being back at her hermitage and hearing this, she said, oh, Lakshman, Ram needs your help. He's calling you, please go. And Lakshman knew that Ram didn't need his help. He says, don't worry, mother. Ram is okay. And Sita said, oh, you are not going to help your brother? Do you want to, is it because you want to Ram to die and you can enjoy me? And this hurt Lakshman so deep that he said, okay, I will go searching for Ram. I will go help Lord Ram. But he drew a line around Sita, Lakshman Rekha, and he told Sita, don't step out of this boundary line that I've created, and you will be protected. If you stay within this line, you will be protected. And he went out to the call of Marichi in Ram's voice. Meanwhile, Ravana comes in disguise as a Brahmana and kidnaps Mother Sita and takes her away. And as he was taking her away, Jatayu, the king of the birds, saw Ravana taking Sita. And even though he was old, very, very old at this time, and he had fought many battles, and he was the king, he had pretty much proved his leadership, and he was the king of all birds. He went and thought, okay, this is one last fight, let me go. And he went and had a tremendous fight with Ravana. But at the end, Ravana killed Jatayu. After reaching the beach, Lord Ramachandra, after Ravana killed Jatayu, Ram appeared, and Ram, taking Jatayu as his son, because then Jatayu told him, that Ravana had kidnapped Sita. That was Ravana. So right before he died, he told Ram that it was that Ravana that had killed Sita. And then Ram performed the funeral rites for Jatayu. After reaching the beach, Lord Ramacandra fasted for 3 days, awaiting the arrival of the ocean personified. When the ocean did not come, the Lord exhibited his pastimes of anger, and simply by his glancing over the ocean, all the living entities within it, including the crocodiles and sharks, were agitated by fear. Then the personified ocean fearfully approached Lord Ramacandra, taking all paraphernalia to worship him. Falling at the Lord's lotus feet, the personified ocean spoke as follows. O all-pervading Supreme Person, we are dull-minded and did not understand who you are. But now we understand that you are the Supreme Person, the Master of the entire universe, the unchanging and original personality of Godhead. The demigods are infatuated with the mode of goodness, the Prajapatis with the mode of passion, and the Lord of ghosts with the mode of ignorance. But you are the master of all these qualities. My Lord, you may use my water as you like. Indeed, you may cross it and go to the abode of Ravan, who is the great source of disturbance and crying for the 3 worlds. The name Ravana means one who makes others cry. He is the son of Vishrava, but is condemned like urine. Please go kill him, and thus regain your wife Sita Devi. O great hero, although my water presents no impediments to your going to Lanka, please construct a bridge over it to spread your transcendental fame. Upon seeing this wonderfully uncommon deed of your lordship, all the great heroes and kings in the future will glorify you. Shukadeva Goswami said, after constructing a bridge over the ocean by throwing into the water the peaks of mountains, whose trees and other vegetation had been shaken by the hands of great monkeys, Lord Ramacandra went to Lanka to release Sita Devi from the clutches of Ravana. With the direction and help of Vibhishan, Ravana's brother, the Lord, along with the monkey soldiers, headed by Sugriva, Nila, and Hanuman, entered Ravana's kingdom, which had previously been burnt by Hanuman. After entering Lanka, the monkey soldiers, led by chiefs like Sugriv, Nila, and Hanuman, occupied all the sporting houses, granaries, treasuries, palace doorways, city gates, assembly houses, palace frontages, and even the resting homes of the pigeons. When the city's crossroads, platforms, flags, and golden water pots on its domes were all destroyed, the entire city of Lanka appeared like a river disturbed by a herd of elephants. When Ravana, the master of the Rakshasas, saw the disturbance created by the monkey soldiers, he called for Nikumba, Kumbha, Dhumraksha, Dhurmukha, Surantaka, Narantaka, and other Rakshasas, and also his son Indrajit. Thereafter he called for Prahashta, Atikaya, Vikampana, and finally Kumbhakarna. Then he induced all his followers to fight against the enemies. Lord Ramacandra, surrounded by Lakshman and monkey soldiers like Sugriv, Hanuman, Gandamada, Nila, Angad, Jambavan, and Panasa, attacked the soldiers of the Rakshasas, who were fully equipped with various invincible weapons like swords, lances, bows, prasas, rishtis, shakti arrows, Khadgas and Tomaras. So the soldiers of Ravana had so many weapons, fancy weapons, whereas the monkeys, they only had rocks, trees. Angad and the other commanders of the soldiers of Ramacandra faced the elephants, infantry horses, and chariots of the enemy and hurled against them big trees, mountain peaks, clubs, and arrows. Thus the soldiers of Lord Ramacandra killed Ravana's soldiers, who had lost all good fortune because Ravana had been condemned by the anger of Mother Sita. So we know ultimately good always wins over evil. Sometimes evil has the upper hand, but eventually good, light conquers darkness. Srila Prabhupada makes some beautiful points in the purport. I'll read this purport because it's very sweet. The soldiers Lord Ramacandra recruited in the jungle were all monkeys and did not have proper equipment with which to fight the soldiers of Ravana. For Ravana's soldiers were equipped with weapons of modern warfare, whereas the monkeys could only throw stones, mountain peaks, and trees. It was only Lord Ramacandra and Lakshman who shot some arrows. But because the soldiers of Ravana were condemned by the curse of Mother Sita, the monkeys were able to kill them simply by throwing stones and trees. There are two kinds of strength, Daiva and Purushakara. Daiva refers to the strength achieved from the transcendence, and Purushakara refers to the strength organized by one's own intelligence and power. Transcendental power is always superior to the power of the materialist. Depending on the mercy of the Supreme Lord, one must fight one's enemies, even though one may not be equipped with modern weapons. Therefore Krishna instructed Arjuna, Mam anusmara yudhyacha. Mam anusmara yudhyacha. Think of me and fight. We should fight our enemy to the best of our ability, but for victory, we must depend on the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text 21. Thereafter, when Ravana, the king of the Rakshasas, observed that his soldiers had been lost, he was extremely angry. Thus, he mounted his aeroplane, which was decorated with flowers, and proceeded toward Lord Ramacandra, who sat on the effulgent chariot brought by Matali, the chariot driver of Indra. Then Ravana struck Lord Ramacandra with sharp arrows. So Ram was in the forest, and he had made a vow when he went to the forest that I will not use any kingly opulence. I will live like a hermit. I will sleep on the floor. He wore tree bark. He ate simple foods, whatever he could gather. But he did have his arrow, his bow and arrows. So when he was about to fight with Ravana, the demigods thought it wise that Ram should not, even because Ravana had an airplane. He had a celestial airplane with so much power and features. So the demigods, Indra, came and sent his chariot driver and personal chariot for the use of Ram, for Ram's use. Lord Ramacandra said to Ravana, "You are the most abominable of the man-eaters. Indeed, you are like their stool. You resemble a dog, for as a dog steals eatables from the kitchen in the absence of the householder, in my absence you kidnapped my wife, Sita Devi. Therefore, as Yamaraj punishes sinful men, I shall also punish you. You are most abominable, sinful, and shameless. Today, therefore, I, whose attempt never fails, shall punish you. After thus rebuking Ravana, Lord Ramacandra fixed an arrow to his bow, aimed at Ravana, and released the arrow, which pierced Ravana's heart like a thunderbolt. Upon seeing this, Ravana's followers raised a tumultuous sound, crying, "Alas! Alas! What has happened? What has happened?" As Ravana, vomiting blood from his 10 mouths, fell from his airplane, just as a pious man falls to earth from the heavenly planets when the results of his pious activities are exhausted. Thereafter, all the women whose husbands had fallen in the battle, headed by Mandodari, the wife of Ravana, came out of Lanka, continuously crying. They approached the dead bodies of Ravana and the other Rakshasas, striking their breasts in affection because their husbands had been killed by the arrows of Lakshman. The women embraced their respective husbands and cried piteously in voices appealing to everyone. "O my Lord, O Master, you epitomized trouble for others, and therefore you were killed." "O my Lord," so this is the wives. This is Mandodari crying to her dead husband. "O my Lord, O Master, you epitomized trouble for others, and therefore you were called Ravana. But now that you have been defeated, we also are defeated. For without you, the state of Lanka has been conquered by the enemy. To whom will it go for shelter? O greatly fortunate one, you came under the influence of lusty desires, and therefore you could not understand the influence of Mother Sita. Now, because of her curse, you have been reduced to this state, having been killed by Lord Ramacandra." Srila Prabhupada says in the purport that because Mandodari was also a very chaste wife, a very qualified wife, she knew the power of such a chaste woman. She knew the power of Sita Devi. O pleasure of the Rakshasa dynasty, because of you, the state of Lanka, and also we ourselves now have no protector. By your deeds, you have made your body fit to be eaten by vultures, and your stool fit to go to hell. And your soul fit to go to hell. Sri Shukadeva Goswami said, "Vibhishan, the pious brother of Ravana and devotee of Lord Ramacandra, received approval from Lord Ram, the king of Koshala. Then he performed the prescribed funeral ceremonies for his family members to save them from the path to hell. Thereafter, Lord Ramacandra found Sita Devi sitting in a small cottage beneath the tree named Shimshapa, in a forest of Ashok trees. She was lean and thin, being aggrieved because of separation from him. Seeing his wife in that condition, Lord Ramacandra was very compassionate. When Ramacandra came before her, she was exceedingly happy to see her husband, and her lotus-like mouth showed her joy. After giving Vibhishan the power to rule the Rakshasa population of Lanka for the duration of 1 kalpa, Lord Ramacandra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan, placed Sita Devi on an airplane decorated with flowers and then got on the plane himself. The period for his living in the forest having ended, the Lord returned to Ayodhya, accompanied by Hanuman, Sugriv, and his brother Lakshman. So here, the Lord gave Vibhishan, Ravana's brother who was a devotee, the power to rule Lanka for one kalpa. One kalpa is 4,320,000,000 years. That is one day of Brahma. 24 hours of Brahma is 4,320,000,000 years on this earth planet. When Ramacandra returned to his capital Ayodhya, he was greeted on the road by the princely order, who showered his body with beautiful, fragrant flowers, while great personalities like Lord Brahma and other demigods glorified the activities of the Lord in great jubilation. Upon reaching Ayodhya, Lord Ramacandra heard that in his absence his brother Bharat was eating barley cooked in the urine of a cow, covering his body with the bark of trees, wearing matted locks of hair, and lying on a mattress of kush. The most merciful Lord very much lamented this. When Lord Bharat understood that Lord Ramacandra was returning to the capital, Ayodhya, he immediately took upon his own head Lord Ramachandra's wooden shoes and came out from his camp at Nandigram. Lord Bharat was accompanied by ministers, priests, and other respectable citizens, by professional musicians vibrating pleasing musical sounds, and by learned brahmanas loudly chanting Vedic hymns. Following in the procession were chariots drawn by beautiful horses with harnesses of golden rope. These chariots were decorated by flags with golden embroidery and by other flags of various sizes and patterns. There were soldiers bedecked with golden armor, servants bearing betel nut, and many well-known and beautiful courtesans. Many servants followed on foot, bearing an umbrella, whisks, different grades of precious jewels, and other paraphernalia befitting a royal reception. Accompanied in this way, Bharat, his heart softened in ecstasy and his eyes full of tears, approached Lord Ramacandra and fell at his lotus feet with great ecstatic love. After offering the wooden shoes before Lord Ramacandra, Lord Bharat stood with folded hands, his eyes full of tears, and Lord Ramacandra bathed Bharat with tears while embracing him with both arms for a long time. Accompanied by Mother Sita and Lakshman, Lord Ramacandra then offered his respectful obeisances unto the learned brahmanas and the elderly persons in the family. And all the citizens of Ayodhya offered their respectful obeisances unto the Lord. The citizens of Ayodhya, upon seeing their king return after a long absence, offered him flower garlands, waved their upper cloths, and danced in great jubilation. O King, Lord Bharat carried Lord Ramachandra's wooden shoes. Sugriva and Vibhishan carried a whisk and an excellent fan. Hanuman carried a white umbrella. Shatrughna carried a bow and 2 quivers. And Sita Devi carried a water pot filled with water from holy places. Angad carried a sword, and Jambavan, king of the rickshaws, carried a golden shield. O King Parikshit, as the Lord sat on his airplane of flowers, with women offering him prayers and reciters chanting about his characteristics, he appeared like the moon with the stars and planets. Thereafter, having been welcomed by his brother Bharat, Lord Ramacandra entered the city of Ayodhya in the midst of a festival. When he entered the palace, he offered obeisances to all the mothers, including Kaikeyi, and the other wives of Maharaj Dasharath, and especially his own mother, Kaushalya. He also offered obeisances to the spiritual preceptors such as Vishishta. Friends of his own age and younger friends worshipped him, and he returned their respectful obeisances, as did Lakshman and Mother Sita. In this way, they all entered the palace. Upon seeing their sons, the mothers of Ram, Lakshman, Bharat, and Shatrughna immediately arose like unconscious bodies, returning to consciousness. The mothers placed their sons on their laps and bathed them with tears, thus relieving themselves of the grief of long separation. The family priest or spiritual master Vashisht had Lord Ramacandra clean shaven, freeing him from his matted locks of hair. Then, with the cooperation of the elderly members of the family, he performed the bathing ceremony, Abhishek, for Lord Ramacandra with the water of the 4 seas and with other substances, just as it was performed for King Indra. Lord Ramacandra, fully bathed and his head clean shaven, dressed himself very nicely and was decorated with a garland and ornaments. Thus he shone brightly, surrounded by his brothers and wife, who were similarly dressed and ornamented. Being pleased by the full surrender and submission of Lord Bharat, Lord Ramacandra then accepted the throne of the state. He cared for the citizens exactly like a father, and the citizens, being fully engaged in their occupational duties of Varna and Ashrama, accepted him as their father. Lord Ram became king during Treta Yuga, but because of his good government, the age was just like Satya Yuga. Everyone was religious and completely happy. O Maharaj Parikit, best of the Bharat dynasty, during the reign of Lord Ramacandra, the forests, the rivers, the hills, and the mountains, the states, the 7 islands, and the 7 seas were all favorable in supplying the necessities of life for all living beings. When Lord Ramacandra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was the king of this world, all bodily and mental suffering, disease, old age, bereavement, lamentation, distress, fear, and fatigue were completely absent. There was even no death for those who did not want it. Lord Ram took a vow to accept only one wife and have no connection with any other woman. He was a saintly king, and everything in his character was good, untinged by qualities like anger. He taught good behavior for everyone, especially for householders in terms of Varnashram Dharma. Thus he taught the general public by his personal activities. Mother Sita was very submissive, faithful, shy, and chaste, always understanding the attitude of her husband. Thus, by her character and her love and service, she completely attracted the mind of Sri Ram. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 9th canto, 10th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Pastimes of the Supreme Lord Ramacandra. Jai Shri Ram. Jai. Shutrugna
Ki Jai.